welcome to yet another episode of Podshots with Bhawna. Well, today I would like to start by giving a great thank you to all of you for sharing your very encouraging response in terms of your feedback, your thoughts, and the encouraging love which you have been sharing from the past episodes of this show. It's really inspiring, and your every feedback, every suggestion really matters a lot. So thank you so much. Keep pouring in your love for this Podshots with Bhawna. Well, let's start with yet another exciting episode. And if you are the one who is obsessed with data, who wants to know about the data transformation, various platform, risk assessment, then I can bet you today's show is not something which you can afford to miss, because the guest who I have invited today literally lives and breathes in data. So allow me a second till I bring him up onto the screen for all of us. Okay, so joining me today on Podshots is Dr. Satish Padmanabhan. Dr. Satish is a seasoned professional into data transformational leader, and with his deep expertise into financial services and the platform ecosystems. He's currently working as the risk assessment leader in the banking transaction with Standard Chartered. So he comes with a rich blend of product thinking, innovation, and of course, his great acumen into data. So I'm thrilled to have Dr. Satish on my episode. Thank you so much, Dr. Satish, for joining in today, and welcome once again.
Thank you, Bhawna. Thank you for this opportunity again.
We really look forward, and I was telling the audience before you joined in that if they are really obsessed with data, they cannot afford to miss this episode, because we have such a guest speaker who actually lives and breathes into data. So we are really hoping to distill all your wisdom in this 10 minutes short bite. So just to let you know the format of this show, this is a short pod shot where I would be asking you some core questions, since we straight away dig into the questionnaire session, and we expect your candid and replies crisply to help the audience to gain that insights which you carry with you. And towards the end, we are going to have a short, fun, sensational rapid fires round. So are you ready with that, Dr. Satish?
Definitely.
Okay, so let me begin with the first question, Dr. Satish. Is according to you, what is that one or maybe the biggest misconception about the data which the enterprises of today's world have?
Yeah. So, Bhawna, let me take that question. So data, the popular misconception is that data can be, from data you can derive business value straight away as it is, right? But what we actually see is that there's a lot of considerations that you'll have to have around the data. It has to be highly contextualized. You need to understand where the data is derived from, whether the data is fit for use, whether the data can be used for many other purposes, what is the impact of the data, risk-related concerns. And therefore, it has to be seen in a very holistic sense. Not that you have data which is siloed in some particular systems and applications and it can be used as it is, and it doesn't serve only a particular business line. Data transfers, it moves across multiple businesses. It's a shared asset across an enterprise. And therefore, all these two considerations have to be in place. And it requires a kind of an operating model to ensure that it is fit for use on an ongoing basis.
Yeah, I think those are very valid points, and you being into this industry, so you have the first-hand information. So I think this is a very valid point which you have raised. So coming to the next question, since you worked with the intersection of product, platform, risk, so what according to you is actually the role of data? Is it a back-end asset or actually the strategic growth driver?
See, it was definitely a kind of a backend asset in the sense that the focus was more about the systems and applications, at least 20 years ago, and what is the business value that you could derive from that. But increasingly, with the proliferation of the business lines and as well as the number of systems that are there within an enterprise, the focus has actually shifted as to how we could optimize this entire architecture, right? Because data is a shared asset across business lines, across systems. And as I have said before, the quality of the data is paramount. profound. Therefore, there needs to be an exclusive focus on data apart from the technology and the business. And then data requires its own set of treatment. There needs to be a data management lifecycle in order to ensure there is a consistent promotion of the data as an asset within the enterprise. When I say it is an asset, it has to be ensured that it is of the right quality. There also needs to be an understanding of what kind of monetization we can derive from this. And there needs to be sustained processes and operating model just to ensure that data could be leveraged as such.
Yeah. I think that sustainability makes a lot of difference. So in today's world, I think that's the crust of the data, because data really speaks. So it's up to us that how do we really interpret that data. So unless it's really healthy data, so what goes in comes out. So I think that's really very important. So thank you so much for sharing. So now coming to, since you have so much of expertise working with various different roles in the organizations, and with the team who handles all these data, according to what has been evolving in the role of data product owner, do you see there is any evolvement which is happening over the past few years?
Definitely. You see, data product owners, I'm not really sure if the data product owner was a kind of an exclusive role before. We had the role of a product owner there, and the focus was on delivering the business value. And it was more of a siloed outlook. In a set of systems would be exposing data from which insights could be gained. But over a period of time, we know that the data can be extracted from a myriad of sources. It need not be data with a structured, it could be unstructured data as well. And what we see is that, as I've said before, the data capabilities becomes focus on data capabilities becomes an exclusive discipline in itself. Therefore, the focus on data capabilities translates into building data platforms, and we are actually building something which would sustain for the future, not just for delivering the immediate business outcomes. And a very important trait of data product owner increasingly is to ensure that all the risks related to the data is appropriately catered to. One of the primary risks is the data quality risk, for which the fitness of the usage of the data has to be addressed. So for the data product owner becomes the kind of a liaison between the risk teams and the business product owner teams to ensure that data can be used as an asset and as well as a capital for fueling business growth.
I think that's very important, valid point, which you said, that being listening person. So bridging between both these critical functions makes a lot of difference. So I'm sure all the audience who are aspiring to be one or who are into this role would definitely get benefited from the thoughts which you have shared. Now, moving to the next question, with more and more organizations moving to the data-driven kind of a culture. So what's those, the common traps which they fall into in their, advent of becoming the data-driven organizations?
See, I think this typically happens with organizations that are actually building from ground up, right? So they get excited about the data that they have and they try to monetize on that data. Either they try to generate insights or they try to sell the data so that other firms could actually use it. But then the focus has to quickly pivot towards whether the data is actually fit for use. As I've said before, the quality of the data and the other associated risks have to be definitely taken care of. And therefore, there has to be appropriate consideration of data management principles right from the design standpoint. It should be data by design, DQ by design, metadata by design. There should be appropriate thought processes as to how this data has to be managed throughout its entire life cycle. Not that it is just to be treated as an asset and you can derive business value perpetually. If you have to sustain on delivering business value perpetually, you'll have to take care of all of these considerations.
Yeah, thanks. So coming to the last question of this core grade, we all love to have, empowered working style, and we want everything, all the kind of flexibilities. So what, according to you, is, how to strike that balance between data democratization as well as, balancing that risk and governance and the safety of the data, because that is the key critical thing to balance.
Yeah. See, this data democratization has to be put in the context of that particular business and enterprise. And as I've said before, data capabilities need to have an exclusive focus, which means that there needs to be a kind of a foresight into how data can go past the immediate business needs that particular enterprises. There could be some future monetization opportunities that they're there, right? And therefore, data democratization is extremely important to both your customers and as well as your internal clients. But having said that, appropriate controls need to be there in place, and appropriate access restrictions, access enablements at all levels have to be there, with also due consideration of data sovereignty concerns, right? Because countries would like to localize the data, ensure that there are appropriate restrictions and limitations in place before data transfers, etc. Therefore, there needs to be checks and balances around places, and you need to have a robust data catalog so that the data could be appropriately promoted to your both the external as well as internal customers. They at least know what there is potential for usage of the data. And once they determine the potential for the usage of the data, then we can implement appropriate controls to understand who is using the data, for what purpose, how long they need to use, etc. So I'm all for data democratization, but you need to have the relevant controls, and data democratization has to serve for the long-term business needs.
Yes, of course, as you rightly pointed, those checks and balances are really important, because there we cannot really afford to miss any governance over there. So this brings us to the closer of the main grid of the questions. So now it's the time for rapid fire section. So it's going to be very fun, lively. So I hope you're ready for that. Okay.
Sure.
So
Let's try.
Let me just start the timer. So Dr. Satish, the first question is, first thing you do when your Wi-Fi stops, is it that you start in the panic mode, or you start meditating, or you just go off to sleep?
Difficult choice. Yeah, I probably would go off to sleep because there are no other options. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a better escape. Okay,
Yeah.
so coming to your weekend escape, so what generally you do over weekend? Is it once again a deep dive into the data, or you go for the long drives, or you are just a couch potato watching some Netflix or Amazon videos?
Yeah, so not exactly all of these choices, but I would definitely spend my time more on reading stuff, not just related to the data. I managed to somehow link it back to data, AI, and other latest technological trends somehow. But for that, you
Oh,
need to read a lot.
okay. So your weekend is also full of wisdom gathering. Okay. So one thing which your non-data friends cannot really understand about your job.
Uh, I think you had me here. So non-data friends cannot understand about my job is that is the the kind of curiosity that we need to have, right? Going beyond what the business expectations are. It's because we'll have to see the long-term trends. We'll have to see how it can be potentially used for various other purposes, right? So a data person needs to be extremely curious as for potential opportunities, also not just serving immediate business needs.
Okay. So something really quirky which I would want to know is that how do you even apply the data governance at home? Like there are some settings on the refrigerator of yours, or some audit trials for your family WhatsApp group?
No, I'm not really paranoid about it to that extent. So I don't apply those settings.
Okay,
I would
that's
like to be as free as possible. I would like to keep data fully democratized at home.
okay. That's good. Okay, the last one is that what's the most hit keyword on your personal CRM if you had one? So is it coffee? Is it forgot password? Or are there birthday alarms which are set as your keywords?
Uh, Forgot password may be the closest one.
Forgot password. Okay. Okay, that's good one. So thank you so much, Dr. Satish. I think it was wonderful to have this candid conversation with you, where you really shared so much of wisdom in terms of data, and as well as you were so candid in your rapid fire section as well. I'm sure the audience must have really got benefited out of this shot of wisdom. So thanks once again for coming in on the show, and wishing you all the best.
Yeah, thanks Bhavana, and wishing you too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, after this dense data shot, I definitely need a coffee shot. You pick up shot of your choice, may it be tea or tequila. It's all up to you. But don't forget to come back again next Friday, where I bring in a new industry speaker to bring all the insights and share it with you guys. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and keep sharing your love, your support, as well as your feedback. So thank you once again. Take good care of yourselves and your loved ones, and stay candid and stay curious. Bye bye, signing off.